So the podcast Quick Bites is live. Riley, how's it going today?
I'm looking good. You're looking good.
The hair's looking great. Why did you decide to do the part?
It was mainly like a Brie suggestion.
Try something
you should
new.
Try it, and I hate trying new things, but I was like, I'll try it for like a week.
You know what's kind of cool is celebrities like always change up their haircuts. So I'm looking at you as a celebrity now, always changing up the haircut. Quick Bites, we're back for the first time this week.
Yes, first time this week.
Riley's going to Phoenix this week.
I am. I'll be out of town.
What's the weather like?
In Phoenix?
Is this supposed to be hot?
I don't want to know. It's probably going to be like 110.
Oh, man. Mountain Dew Baja Blast.
I mean, Vegas is only going to be... Okay. Phoenix, Arizona. Hundreds.
Yeah, it's going to be hot.
It's supposed to like 50% chance of like thunderstorms.
So our buddy Will
Zalatoris on the PGA Tour just won for the first time this weekend.
First time ever.
First time ever.
But he's placed second in 3 of the Masters this year. Or not Masters, but 3 of the majors this year.
People have been giving him a lot of crap about being like such a good runner.
It's because he was Happy Gilmore's caddy.
They do look pretty similar. But he couldn't make a putt to save his life for a while.
Well, did you see his putting stroke?
Yes.
Shaky.
Yeah,
shaky.
I feel like he knew that was the problem. He just like.
Do you think he's gonna go on like a tear now and like win the FedEx Cup and then obviously just like run through people? I feel like that. I mean, Brooks kind of did that. Like he won one and then he just went off.
Yeah, I feel like he could do that because that's normally what happens to players when they get on a streak. I mean, when you get like when they're on a streak, they're playing well. It's like you see them win. Like Tony Finau.
Yeah,
won twice in a row, 2 weekends.
How did he do yesterday? Do you know?
I have no idea. I honestly didn't watch this much this weekend.
Right. I just watched the final playoff holes. Did you watch them?
I didn't.
Okay, so the first playoff hole, I believe they
I saw the last playoff hole.
The last playoff hole, they both hit it in the fucking water. That was great.
Yeah, I saw that, and then they both dropped, and then
actually, Will didn't hit it in the water. He's on the edge.
It was snuggling on the.
But he claimed it as in the water. I think Will's going to go on a tear. His ball striking is unbelievable. And for those non-golfers out there checking this out, ball striking is probably one of the most important things. Basically, they're looking at it from the standpoint of how often does he hit the ball in the center face of the club. Yeah, you're not going to miss many targets when you're hitting it right in the center, you know?
Yeah.
Right in the center. Oh, good old Will.
Yeah, I mean... just like him and Tony, like they deserved it at the end of the day.
Yeah,
it's just a long time coming.
How's your golf obsession? You still like obsessed
I'm
I
so
am
obsessed.
Right now?
Yeah. Well, I told you I played with my dad last.
Oh, how'd that go?
And dude, I never played good with my dad. I don't know what it is.
Neither do I. It's like the pressures.
I feel like it is a pressure, but I also feel like it's the lack of pressure because I've played with him so many times. Like I don't get nervous or whatever. But like when I go out and play with like you or someone new that I haven't played with a lot.
You're like, all right, I have to play good. So you're a good pressure golfer. You're just like, when you're with your dad, you're like too lax almost.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I'm just like not focused. Like, I don't know. So I need to dial
Get it together, Riley. You got to dial that in.
What I need to change. But I'm still very obsessed. I'm actually kind of sad I'm going to Phoenix because I probably won't be able to play.
You should like sneaker clubs.
I know. Well, because Phoenix is amazing to play.
Yeah.
And the weather this week doesn't look that bad, so.
You should be playing golf in Phoenix.
Out one of those days.
Oh, look, there's Jake. What's up, dude?
Jake, Camille. I told him to
Quick
hop
Bites is live. And so leading into that, let's talk about our crypto question of the day. We've got the Ethereum 2.0 merger coming.
Yeah, what do they call it? A triple halving?
No, that's Bitcoin. What the halving means is there's so many Bitcoins mined in a Bitcoin transaction that every 4 years there's a halving where you receive half less of the Bitcoin. So let's say if you're processing computing power, you're solving the equations to mine Bitcoin, you receive Bitcoin for that. So in a halving, every 4 years the supply gets cut in half of what you receive. So let's say just easy math, if you're doing a math problem to mine Bitcoin and you receive 1 Bitcoin for computing and completing this transaction, at the halving, you all of a sudden only get half of a Bitcoin if you were to get 1 Bitcoin for that problem. So it just gets cut down every 4 years. You're getting less and less and less, which makes the
Does that make the
long
value go
term,
up at all?
you would think yes and no, because then the bigger Bitcoin mining companies will be able to solve more transactions because they've got it to a science where, like, if the price of Bitcoin is down, it doesn't make sense for someone to mine Bitcoin when the halving happens. Halving happening, whatever you say. But anyways, that's Bitcoin. Ethereum 2.0 is set to launch September 15th or September 16th.
Or
Those
14th or something.
I think that's when it is. But so let me give you guys a little rundown of Ethereum 2.0. The difference between proof of work and proof of stake are the two major consensus mechanisms cryptocurrencies use to verify new transactions. So proof of work, proof of stake. Add them to the blockchain and create new tokens. Cryptocurrencies used to verify new transactions and them to the block. Does that make sense? Okay, so proof of work,
Kind of.
first pioneered by Bitcoin, uses mining to achieve these goals. Proof of stake, which is employed by Cardano, the Ethereum 2, this update, and others, uses staking to achieve the same thing. So instead of Ethereum being created or added due to mining necessarily, they're going to flip that and use staking to reward you with solving transactions. So there's a certain amount that you'll be able to stake and receive, what was it? Dividends off of, technically. So I think that there's going to be a certain number to create a node, and I think you're going to need like 22 or 23 Ethereum. But if you have that, you will be rewarded kind of like mining is, and instead of creating more Ethereum, you'll be receiving dividends for solving those problems with putting your Ethereum into a node.
What's a node?
I don't know.
Because
Anybody
I
out there
saw-
know what a node is?
I saw some things about this being.
It's a little complex. This is a little like super computer science for me. That's why I'm
Yeah,
like reading the definitions off my phone.
I saw some things about like they're doing this to not have to like mine anymore.
Yes. So the
Something.
other thing that's interesting
Why is that?
is that, and from what I understand, don't quote me on this, we are going to a point where Ethereum becomes capped. So right now, when you mine, more Ethereum is just created. So it's just this ongoing thing. But then
There's no like cap to it.
there's a set amount when we convert to the next blockchain, Ethereum 2.0.
that's
So
like
all of a sudden
Bitcoin.
it becomes deflationary.
Okay.
So all of a sudden, like, there's only the max supply is out there. So the price of Ethereum is projected to kind of go through the roof.
Go through the roof. Yeah. I was watching a lot of videos, and it's honestly 50-50 split. So many people are like it's going to the moon. So many people are like it's going to the ground.
Oh, I don't think it's necessarily going to go to the moon. I just think it's another layer of protocol on top of the Ethereum blockchain that's going to help it become more mainstream.
Yeah, and I saw that because like Bitcoin has a set amount of Bitcoins, right?
Right.
Out there, they're just not all mined yet.
Yes, correct. So
Okay.
the having
Okay.
happens. So it will take another 100 and I think it's like 5 years for all the Bitcoin that has been written into the code to be discovered.
I do not understand Bitcoin at all. When you go to that
21
part,
million
I'm just like,
Bitcoins. 21 million Bitcoins are the mass amount that you could be created.
gotcha.
So when a Bitcoin transaction happens, there's computer nodes or like technology that's completing these transactions, verifying that there's Bitcoin in your wallet, my wallet, and we just transferred it.
Gotcha.
And I'm rewarded in Bitcoin for solving those equations. And it's only a certain amount of Bitcoin. And every 4 years, that Bitcoin becomes less and less and less that I receive for solving those transactions. Does that kind of make sense?
So you're getting like a dividend, but it's decreasing every time.
Yeah, because you're paying money to run these computer chips basically to process these transactions.
So are they kind of just like, is that an incentive to mine it
Yes. Is it costs? Yeah, you receive Bitcoin back.
Okay.
So there's that threshold of like your power cost and what the price of Bitcoin is basically what these mining companies evaluate.
Gotcha.
Now, a lot of these mining companies are keeping the Bitcoin they are mining for the long term versus dumping it off and selling it as soon as they receive it.
Okay.
So that's where the crypto market can really go south quick, is when these mining companies start dumping and unloading all their Bitcoin that they're mining for. That can be like...
Well, I also saw that it's going to unlock a bunch of Ethereum.
Yes. Personally, I've staked a lot of Ethereum already
Oh, it's for
that I can't
this.
touch.
Was it for this?
Yep, that I got
That's right. I
5%
remember
on my
that.
money for the last 8 months, 9 months, the money that I put into Ethereum 2.0, and I can't access it until ETH 2.0 unlocks.
Okay, because obviously I never understood.
So
I was
that's
like,
staking is like
yes,
putting
okay,
your
I
money
get
up
it.
for like dividends.
Yep.
Okay.
But I remember seeing ETH 2, and I was like, what is this? It was like stake it 5%. I didn't
Right.
know that this was the end result.
Right.
Obviously, I just didn't look
So
into
then
it.
at this point, when that happens, I think things will change a little bit where Ethereum, you might have to put up a certain amount to get certain staking rewards.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, like so if you put up 50K rather than 20K, then you get this and this.
Potentially.
More? Oh, okay.
Yep, potentially. Because it becomes proof of stake rather than proof of work.
Okay.
So proof of stake is basically the more money that's put up will help the transaction. So you'll receive more in dividends the more money you do deploy.
Okay. This is making a lot more sense.
But crypto is still really scary sometimes.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's just so new. Even though
Yeah.
it's been here for 10 plus years
Right.
almost, which is crazy.
I know.
People are just starting to hear about it, let alone catch on to it.
And with the ups and downs of it, it's funny because we're like in this market swell or this decline right now that's different. Not different, but when everything's up, it's like everybody and their sister knows about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kuj too, you know? And then when the market's down for the 2 years, usually between halvings, you don't really hear much about it. And it just kind of like builds on itself and builds on itself. Like that news we released a few weeks ago of BlackRock collaborating with Coinbase, allowing a lot of their investors in their hedge fund to have access to crypto through Coinbase. Like it was like that verified partnership, which I think is a lot deeper than what people understand because
Well, that's saying something.
yeah.
What
What is
is
it, $10 trillion?
I was like you said, it's trillions of dollars. So it's like there's something there.
There's something there. I wonder if the people on live can actually hear what we're saying.
I mean, it might be quiet because it's so far away, but I'm sure they can hear it enough.
Yeah.
You just turn it all the way up.
All the way up.
Yeah, in other news.
What's going on in the stock market, Riley? Mr. Trader over here.
So Warren Buffett has been adding to his Occidental Petroleum stake $8.6 billion worth.
Whoa.
In other words. So a lot.
What is Occidental Petroleum?
It's just a petroleum company, pretty much.
Gas.
But they are leading in carbon neutralizing technology. So with that new tax bill that just came out with the inflation, anti-inflationary, whatever the hell.
Printing more money,
yeah,
I think.
That was ridiculous. I don't know. They presented a new tax credit to large corporations.
Oh.
The 45Q tax credit.
Okay.
This is going to be a stretch trying to remember all the things, but like pretty much for every 50 ton or for every ton of carbon that they're able to produce and put back in the ground before it's in the air, they get $50 back.
Oh.
And
it's like for every CO2 molecule basically that they recirculate or recycle.
Yep. So they are building 69 of these factories to do that. And with the amount of carbon they're creating and putting underground, in other words, it would be worth $12.4 billion in tax write-offs per year. And they have...
That's a lot of money.
So Amazon was the number one corporate lobbyist of this year.
Okay.
And Occidental Petroleum was number 2. They spent $20 million on corporate lobbying to get this tax credit.
To get this through.
Yes.
So Amazon was number 1, Occidental was number 2. Okay.
Yes. And I don't know what Amazon's goal with their lobbying was. I don't know what they were trying to get.
Oh.
Because I think this
is
it's
just
not for
lobbying
this
in
tax.
general.
Yes.
Yep. It's probably somewhat supportive to like clean energy of some sort, you know?
Just like when Amazon bought all those clean energy motors to test them out. I'm not really sure what's happening with that, but I remember I owned that stock before they had bought it.
It just went to the freaking moon.
It exploded. But no, so it's just crazy because like I would have never have known any of that about Occidental Petroleum if like there wasn't people like starting to read into it because of Warren buying it all.
Right.
It's like, how did these guys like Warren?
Did you see the other thing that like he made? What was it, like $200 million off of just his Apple dividends
The dividends
in quarter or two?
is so crazy because it's like
Buy Apple long term.
percentage wise, what's Apple's dividend, like 3%?
Something like minuscule.
Just yeah, it's insane. So
Yeah, he owns like I think 5% of that company. I think he owns about 5 to 10% of Apple.
that's like with Occidental, it put him at like a 5% holder
That's so crazy.
or something like that.
That man has some great strategies.
Yeah, well, I'm listening to The Psychology of Money right now.
Finally,
Yep,
Riley.
yep.
Finally,
And I'm right at the part where he was talking about Warren Buffett, Charlie, and then the other guy, Rick, that used to be partners with those two.
yes.
But he wanted to get rich quick. And then he got over leveraged, margin called, and was out of the game.
So, do you still want to be a day trader?
I mean, I'm not in a rush to be a day trader. I honestly, the reason I want to trade is like because it forces me to like know what's going on, and it also allows me to be good at something. Whether or not I'm making thousands of
Could you
dollars.
just be a day trader from like 6 a.m. to like 9 a.m. and feel like you're doing enough time in it to like do well, or is it something you got to do all day long?
No, you could trade from 7:30 to 8 a.m.
Really?
You could trade for 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's smart to do a lot of prep beforehand.
And
The night before, the morning before,
Okay.
charting what's the market doing before hours, pre-market trends and stuff. But in all reality, the first and last hour of the market is the best time to
trade the
from a
first and the
volatility
last hour.
standpoint.
Okay.
Because there's power
okay.
hour, and then the first hour is just like,
So that's why they call it Power Hour on
Yeah.
CNBC.
Yeah.
Got you now.
or lately they've been calling it sour hour.
Yeah, it's been pretty sour.
But yeah, so it's definitely the reason I like it is because I feel like, when you just like, you want to be good at something,
Yeah.
and like if I'm trading and people are like asking me questions about it, I'm like, I feel like I know what I'm talking about, and it's fulfilling to me to like know my shit.
Dude. I don't even know what I'm doing.
No, exactly. Well, and I'm not like that's
And like I even ask you the same questions. You're like, Blake, like it just doesn't work with my brain, people. I should not trade options. Get my pants
and
burned off.
That's the thing. There's so many confusing things that I was able to learn from doing it for 6-8 months. Just even though I wasn't like getting good at it, I was learning so much.
Yeah.
And I was
You learn the
understanding
most when you fail and lose a lot of money. Not a lot of money, but lose
a lot of money.
A lot of money.
It
A lot
was
of money.
yeah.
Lose
So
a lot of money.
it's just a great learning tool, and like I said, it's a challenge, a mental challenge. It's like golfing.
Yeah.
So it's like, obviously golfing, there's not money on the line most of the time. Sometimes there is. Most of
Riley
the time.
doesn't gamble while he's golfing 'cause he's a pussy.
But yeah, because when there's, thousands of dollars on the line per
Yeah.
trade or whatever you're doing, like your mental awareness and your control goes right out the window.
Right.
And it's just like,
There's emotion.
there's money and
Yeah.
emotion. And it's so hard to detach those. And I was nowhere close to being able to do that, even after 6-8 months. And granted, I didn't continue to do it just because I'm like, this is not be my full-time career. I've already talked about that. Like, I'd have to do that full-time. But if I were to keep doing it, like the first year is to learn habits and stuff like that. It's not to make money.
Right.
And that's like hard pill for people to swallow.
That's
it's
true.
Like, but what if I could?
Sounds a lot like commercial real estate. First year, you got to swallow the horse pill
Yeah.
and just know what you don't know, but at the same time, you got to try things. I feel like looking back on the first year of commercial real estate, like ignorance is bliss for so many of you out there listening to this. Like sometimes you'll stumble on like the most like the best learning opportunity when you least expect it in the first year or something. Like for example, trading options, probably losing a couple grand in a trade, but then what you take away from that, where in commercial real estate it's like chasing that deal or that project and then it get to almost to the finish line and then falling apart. Like it's just such a hard pill to swallow, but it's also there's so many lessons along the way in those situations that I don't know, they're irreplaceable as long as you're investing the long-term thought process. If you're just trying to get in, get rich quick, like you're going to have highs, lows, most likely lows, and then pivot to something else.
Well, yeah, it's necessary for the long term, all that stuff to be sustainable. When you get rich quick, you get broke quick as well.
Yeah.
Like that's how it works. I've seen it firsthand, like not firsthand, but like I've seen it with people that I know, and I like just thankfully I've never been through that, but knock on wood.
You won't lose all your money.
No. But you know what's funny? I'll share my worst loss in a trade.
Let's hear it.
This was November of last year. Yeah, November. We were in Vegas for Bree's 21st birthday. Her parents lived there at the time still. So we were there for like a week. And I was trading every morning that the market was open. So I had to wake up at like 6:30 Vegas time. So it was brutal.
Keep complaining. 6:30.
So I was trading, got into an Amazon call because I think this was right when when this big gap was ready to fill.
Okay.
And so I got
a little excited.
Yeah, I got a little bit too
out over your skis.
Yep. And I was like, it'll close that by the end of this week, right? So then I was like, all right, because I think 2K in. First buy was 2K in.
Okay.
The contract was. And I was like,
this was before Amazon split, so it was like super expensive too.
Yeah, so the stock was doing this all day, and I was like, all right, I'm going to swing it till the next day.
Okay.
So that next day came around, I'm like, I'm going to average down. So another 2K.
Oh.
And I'm like, all right, it's just going, and I'm like, I just have a feeling. It's going to
pop at some point.
I have a feeling. And granted, I was trading weekly, so I was trading that Friday expiration. So this was already a stupid idea because they were going to expire. And I knew this. Like, you know what you're doing when you're doing it, even if it's wrong.
There's a deadline. Yeah.
But there's that false hope that's always there. And it's just
so Riley's in Vegas. He spent $4K on options or Amazon calls. Keep going. I'm waiting for that bittersweet moment where the roulette ball lands on a 0 green.
So,
she always calls during the podcast, man. She just must love this. She should just jump on the live feed and ask her questions.
It's funny. That was one of the micro pieces. You're like, why is my wife always calling on the podcast?
She could be a guest.
Long story short, I ended up losing 9,500 throughout that week.
Holy shit.
On that Amazon call.
Green, 0, plunk.
Yeah, and I had on a 10 black. So, that was a great lesson.
Or a 12 black.
Well, actually, what's funny, we got there Thursday, and we left that next Thursday. So that
full week.
The Friday we got there, I made 5,500 on that Friday that morning.
Oh, wow, dude. This is
so that's
great.
When that kicks in to that.
Like, oh, I can do it again. Yep.
So I gave back almost
all
what
of
I
it.
made. I gave back what I made plus some. It was great lessons, though. I'm obviously always learning lessons still. And then I continued to lose more for the next 3 or 4 months, which
just on the wrong side of the coin flip, huh?
Yeah, which hurt. But then it's like I'm more passionate about video and stuff right now, so I'd rather do this. And so, but it was a great learning experience regardless. I had fun.
It's always fun. Yeah, you know, sometimes you got to throw some money and gamble a little bit.
Yeah, and I just like I'm at the age where I'm like I can lose that much and I can sleep at night.
Right.
You know, like I don't have kids.
That's good. You guys hear that? It's okay to take some risks when you're young.
Yeah, and I probably
calculated
have plenty
risks.
more risks to take.
At least you weren't like gambling though.
No,
but you were in ways. Like you knew the danger.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like when you walk into a casino, like they always have an upper hand, but you know that going in.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. The first time Bree like when she turned 21 and was gambling, she was making like.
That's first timers luck. Dude.
No, yeah, she made $500.
There's such thing as first timers luck.
She made $500.
Oh man.
So now net Vegas, she's like $100 in the positive.
Oh, that's good.
From the first time it was 500 and then back down and then back up. But yeah, it was crazy. My sister, however, is so good at blackjack and makes money every time.
Really?
I'm not even kidding.
Have you heard how good like Dana White is at cards?
Oh, really?
Oh,
No,
dude,
I
he
haven't.
just like goes in and murders casinos. Like he's kicked out of all casinos besides Caesars now.
Really?
Like they finally let him back in because he just goes and like murders the card tables.
That's crazy.
And
How
I
do
think
you
it's
do that?
from what I hear is he goes in and bets heavy, and either he wins big or loses big. You know, like if you
Yeah.
just play the minimum bet all night long, you're bound to lose. You know,
Yeah.
but if you go in and you play 3 hands
Mm-hmm.
and you're betting big, you can walk out of there with some good money.
And because some people are like, oh shoot, and they like fold.
Yep.
Because like I've seen that with poker a lot. It's like all in, and people are like, and they don't have crap,
Yep.
but then they still win because they're confident.
Yep.
You know,
It's
it's
a
not
confidence thing.
the emotion with the money. People are like,
Exactly. When you tie money and gambling together, no, you just got to go in that you're going to
crazy.
lose everything.
You gotta be
you're
a
gonna
robot.
have fun. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. So
Well,
that was a great pod.
that was a good pod.
Yeah.
Short, sweet.
Short
Will,
and sweet.
good luck
Congrats,
next
Will.
week.
Yep.
Take him down.
I'm sure he can pull off winning the FedEx Cup.
I would love that because I feel like it'd put a really good end to the PGA Tour season, even with all the live golf PGA drama. Is like this guy that gets second at 3 of the majors, all of a sudden just rips through the field at the
Yeah.
FedEx Cup points and just dominates.
Yeah.
Love that.
It'll be good regardless.
Thanks for people who joined the live stream today. I think we're going to do this more often.
Yeah, that was
Got a
fun.
good list of names in there. I just don't know if people can hear us.
I mean, yeah, we'll have to watch it back.
Yeah, we'll see.
But yeah, that was good.
Good podcast.